Hi everyone, can everyone hear us? Okay. Well, if you can, we're going to start so long, so you guys can just pop in something in the chat. But this is Jo and Alice from Edinburgh Napier University. So they're here today just to answer a few questions. This video will be uploaded on our social media sites. So if you are unable to hear us or you are unable to maybe ask us some questions, I am going to be asking the basic or the most common questions that we get from students for undergrad and postgrad. So we will be covering quite a lot today. I think maybe we can get Alice and Jo to introduce themselves and just a short little piece about their position at the university and what their services are, and yeah, so you guys can fire away.
Yeah, so I'll start. My name is Alice, and I am the International Officer at Edinburgh Napier, and I cover Africa, the Middle East, and South Asia. So I have quite a wide remit of countries, but yeah, I'm specifically focusing quite a lot on Africa at the moment. I'm trying to recruit some more students from here. I'm from Edinburgh, so I know the city very well, so if you have any questions about the city specifically, I can hopefully answer those. And I also studied at Edinburgh Napier. I actually completed my undergraduate degree in psychology from the university, so I'm also an alumni as well, so I've got kind of some student experience too.
Hi everyone, my name is Jo. I'm the International Partnership Manager at Edinburgh Napier University. I've been working for the university for 6 years. I've been working in the industry for 11 years. I also am an alumni of Edinburgh Napier University. I have an MBA from the university. So feel free to ask any questions today.
Okay, perfect. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask the common questions, and if you guys have any questions, you can just pop into the chat because I don't think I can hear you guys. And then we can take it from there. But I think the main question is the courses that are offered. So I think maybe we can look at that first. So I know there's quite a wide range of courses that you guys offer, but maybe you can chat about the common courses that students apply for and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. So at Napier, all of our courses are split into 6 academic schools. So I think our biggest school in terms of recruitment is definitely our business school. So we have a lot of different courses there. At undergraduate level, we have a lot of, business management degrees. We have a lot of tourism, marketing, and finance degrees as well. So we have quite a wide range of business courses at undergraduate and at postgraduate level. We also have our MScs in business management, as well as the MBA program. So our business school is one of the largest in Scotland, actually, just in terms of numbers of students, and a lot of our international students go there. We also have the School of Computing, which has a lot of international students are very interested in, especially our computing with professional placement and our MSc in computing master's degrees. We get a lot of interest there, and in some of our kind of forensics and kind of cyber security kind of side of things as well. We know that's an area of a real interest for the international market. Jo, do you want to?
Sure, I'll jump on for the next 2 schools. I'll talk about engineering school. So we are one of the best ranked engineering school in the UK and in Scotland. So within engineering school, we have civil engineering, mechanical engineering, and electrical engineering. So that's the main ones. We also have transportation engineering, which is under civil engineering, which is a niche one, a really good program, and energy engineering as well. So that's the engineering school. And the next school I'll cover is our School of Arts and Creative Industry. Within this school, we have the design suite. So we have interior and spatial design, product design, and the other one is our, what's the other?
I can't remember now, you put me on the spot.
So we have a design suite. We
yeah.
have quite a few design courses. And then we have our film suite, so all the directing, screenwriting, film production. We also have photography and publishing within that suite. And we also have music courses and also creative writing. So that's all the arts and creative industry courses. I'll pass on to Alice to talk about the next two
For the
schools.
last ones. So the last two are our School of Health and Social Care and our School of Applied Sciences. So they're actually based on the same campus. Our School of Health and Social Care is predominantly our nursing courses, which unfortunately aren't available for international students just due to like NHS funding and things. But we do have some postgraduates in that school in occupational therapy, physical therapy, and there's another one that
Healthcare management.
Healthcare management, that's the other really big one in that school at master's level that are really popular with international students as well. And then in the School of Applied Sciences, that's the one I did my degree in, so that covers social sciences like psychology, criminology, sociology, and then biosciences as well. So wildlife conservation is one of our really popular masters as well. We get a lot of interest there, as well as kind of pharmaceutical and analytical sciences.
And I think the next question is, thank you for giving us a little outline, but I think it's the entry requirements. So I think that would be the next step is what are the entry requirements? So in South Africa, we have many school systems, but I think I'm going to focus on the NSC and IB for today. So the NSC would be our national senior certificates and IB would be like our big international, which I think a lot of our students are from. So just the entry requirements for those, for the Pacific programs.
So the specific, and I'm really sorry, I'm going to say I cannot remember them off the top of my head now, they've gone out of my mind. The entry requirements for all of our courses are listed on our website, and we do have the South African entry requirements listed on our course page. I can actually double check it because I have them with me. So we do accept the courses, and it does depend slightly. Some courses do have specific subjects that are required, specifically for some of our biological courses and things like that. They do need specific subjects to be studied at high school level. I think Joe's just going to double check them for me, so I don't want to say the wrong grades. And then at master's level, so we generally, our UK requirements for most of our masters are a 2-2 honours degree in the UK system. Which we know a lot of students maybe from South Africa might not have the honours level or the honours year. But one thing we do is we look at work experience as well. Oh, thank you so much. We really look at work experience as well, and we take that into consideration. So even if you maybe don't quite meet any of our requirements, please do reach out to Sable or reach out to us and have a chat, because we try and be as flexible as we possibly can. So for the National Senior Certificate at undergraduate level, we look for an overall grade of 4. And then depending on the course, like I say, if it has a specific element, specifically for some of our engineering, we need maths. So some of them we might need for maths at like a 5 and things like that, but you can check that on our website. And again, if you're not sure, just let us know. And postgraduate, we generally look for 60% or above is our kind of general.
Yeah, I think it's just letting students know that obviously if you want to go into the science field or medicine, for instance, or anything, if you want to do business, you obviously need to have those subjects in matric. I think that's the most common thing to remember. And if your courses do need maths, then you would obviously need to take maths. Do you guys recognize maths splits as a subject for courses like humanities and arts and stuff like that, or do students still need to have maths?
So I think specifically for psychology, we don't.
Okay.
But for most of the other courses, we will. Psychology undergraduate has a slightly different maths requirement than a lot of the others, and engineering, I think some of them are the same. They won't recognise that, but for general, most of our courses, we will recognise maths lit.
Because I think that's quite a common question that students ask, because some students don't necessarily have maths as a subject and they have maths lit, and some universities don't recognise it. So that is something to take note of, that if you do only have maths lit, but you're applying for more subjects in the arts field or something like that, it is accepted. Yeah. I think the next question would be, how do students apply? So obviously students are able to apply through us. We do the application process for you, but if you have applied by yourselves, all you have to do is send us your application number, and we will get in touch with the university, and we will tag you to the university and through us, which means that we'll inform the university that you will be working through us. I think maybe we can chat about tuition fees next. Mm-hmm. So any percentage of tuition fees that international students get, and what kind of the average tuition fees are looking like.
Yeah, absolutely. So for undergraduate, I think it's between, at the moment, 15 to 16,000 per year for the undergraduate tuition, and our undergraduate degrees are 4-year degrees, and yeah, that's per year. For masters, it varies a little bit more, so it varies from around 15 and a half to 18, depending on the course that you're studying. It is a little bit more varied, and in terms of kind of scholarship and discount that you can get, we have a Africa scholarship, which is a £2,000 scholarship, and that's awarded on a first come first served basis for people that pay their deposit early. So the deposit is £3,500, and that needs to be paid once you have your unconditional offer and secure your place on the course. And that's one thing we do say to any applicants, you know, if you are applying and you get your offer, some of our courses, specifically within the business school, do fill up and they do sometimes close. Even if you have an offer, we'll have to, you know, close them for deposits because we just have so many. So we do say once you have your offer, pay your deposit as soon as you can. And then if we still have scholarships and stuff available, we can look at getting that out to you as well.
Okay, perfect. So Angela, so you asked, is there a need to set ourselves apart to get in, or does that not get taken into account in business? This also seems that the grades are to be considered. So I think that's also a lot of questions students ask. Is there anything is it just kind of academics that they focus on, or I know obviously maybe work experience, but I think for undergrad and postgrad it would be quite different. So maybe if you could just touch on some of the kind of things that can help with your application. Is there any, like your personal statement, any work experience, outreach work?
Absolutely. So undergraduate is really, undergraduate is very kind of focused on the grades and making sure you have the relevant subjects and things for the course that you're wanting to study. And then looking at your personal statement, that is really kind of your opportunity to stand out to us when you apply for undergraduate. So UCAS is quite strict. UCAS is the application system within the UK for most undergraduate applications, and they've got quite a limited kind of size bit that you can complete for your personal statement. I think it's only 4,000 characters, which is not a lot. So, you know, so we do say spend a good bit of time on that statement and, you know, really think about what makes you stand out, what, you know, makes you unique as an applicant. And we just really want to know, you know, why you want to come and study in the UK and why you want to study the course that you've picked as well, why you're passionate about that subject. That's really what we want to see in that. So for undergraduate, it's really, you know, the personal statement and then looking at your grades. For postgraduate, it is a bit different. Like I say, we try and be as flexible as we can with our entry requirements, as well as work experience. So we definitely do take them both into consideration. So we always say whenever you apply for postgraduate, please, you know, send us a copy of your CV as well, outline your work experience, and then again, in your personal statement, outline all of that. You've got a bit more freedom with that, it's a bit bigger, you're not restricted in terms of length. So again, you know, just tell us really why you want to come and study at Napier specifically in the UK, in Scotland, and why that course stood out to you as well.
What's quite nice is we do have kind of a personal statement guide that we can send to students. So this just outlines what needs to be in your personal statement. And it just helps you because it can be quite daunting. And as Alice was mentioning, it is really important. So it is something that you need to spend your time on and make sure that it's right. I think the next question, maybe we can focus on what it actually looks like to be a student at your university. Like the social committees, what kind of is student life like?
I'll touch on that, sure. So the city of Edinburgh is a student-friendly city. So 12% of the population in the entire city of Edinburgh are students. So we have 4 universities in Edinburgh. So that's us, and then Edinburgh University, Harrow University, and Queen Margaret University. So you can see it's very student-friendly. We have lots of students, and the city of Edinburgh is quite a small city after all. So there's a lot of things to do. So one thing I'd like to highlight is the Edinburgh Festival. So it's the largest festival in the world. It happens every year in August. Within that, you've got Edinburgh Fringe Festival, you've got Film Festival, Book Festival, so you've got all sorts of festivals. There's so much things you can do, especially if you're into arts. There's so many shows, theatre, different events you can go to. But then City of Edinburgh is a event and festival city after all. So all year round, there are different events happening every month or even every weekend you can go to. Then Edinburgh is very international. You've got people from everywhere. Just as our university, we have students from over 140 countries. So it's so international. You can meet people from everywhere. You can have food or the restaurants or international cuisine you can find. There's so many local supermarkets. You can find African supermarket, Asian supermarket, Western supermarket, European supermarkets located everywhere. And the city itself is very historical. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site. You probably have seen the picture. It's such a pretty city with the castle right in the city centre. You don't find cities like that in the world very often. So it's a great blend of old and new.
Sorry about the noise in the background. So let me just see what Karen said.
Sure. I'll just mention as well that if you're into sports as well, we have so many different sports clubs. We have a gym within the university. It's very cheap membership for students. There are so many different clubs as well. If you're into other type of hobbies, we have over 100 clubs: book clubs, music clubs, sports clubs, theatre clubs, you name it. So there is a lot of things to do, and you can also socialize with students from other universities. There are different inter-university clubs and societies you can go to as well.
Yeah, I think one of the cool things in the kind of the UK, so ENSA, which is the Edinburgh Napier University Association, they run all of the sports clubs and all of the societies. So if you do join any of the sports clubs and things like that, you'll often not have classes on a Wednesday afternoon because they generally reserve that for time for like the sports clubs to meet and train and everything else. And that's not just us, that's kind of all of the universities. So they tend to do a lot of kind of inter-university competitions and things on a Wednesday afternoon, which is really great, kind of cool way to meet other people in the city from other unis and make friends when you first join. So if you are a little bit nervous about meeting people and not sure what to do, especially if you start with us in September, we'll have the kind of freshers fair during that first week where all of the clubs and societies have a stall. You can go and kind of explore, see who's there and what clubs you might be interested in, even if it's something you've never tried before. Give it a go, go and meet it. The worst thing that can happen is you don't enjoy it and then you just don't do it again. But that's the way so many people make kind of a really solid group of friends when they do come to study with us.
So,
sorry.
Sorry, it's quite exciting to talk about the city and student life. It's also very easy for you to travel down to London. It's only an hour by flight. But also it's very easy to travel to all the European cities. You can go to Amsterdam, you can go to Berlin within 2 hours. So you can go to lots of the European capitals and there is very cheap tickets. So Ryanair, for example, you can get return tickets easily for £40 or £50 return for short weekends away. And you can, come back. Maybe just go on Friday and come back on Monday, for example. So there are loads of things to do. You won't be bored at all.
Yeah, I think maybe we can move on to Karen, you speaking about passports. I think I wanted to chat a little bit more about student visas. Yeah. So what are the student fees okay. So in order to qualify for local fees in the UK, you have to have lived there for 3 years as a tax-paying citizen. So unfortunately, if you haven't done that, you still will have to pay international fees. But if you have a British passport, you won't need a student visa. So I just wanted to ask a question that I have, and I think a lot of people have. When you are on a student visa in the UK, when you travel to Europe, what are the limits on that student visa? As you say, you are able to take a train to Europe if you would like to. What kind of the limitations when it's traveling around on the student visa to Europe?
I think I'll answer that question for you. So if you're holding a student visa or previously known as Tier 4 visa, then it's a multiple entry visa. You also get a biometrical card. So you get visa when you enter, and then once you enter, you get the biometrical card. So it's basically a residence card. So it's a multiple entry, so you can obviously if you are holding a South African visa, and depends on the country you travel onto. So for example, if you go to Europe, Germany or France, and you go without visa, right?
Yeah.
Then in that case, you can just enter without having a visa, then you can come back with your biometric residency card of the UK. So you don't need a visa, so you can travel.
Yeah. But to get to Karen's, for your answer, you would have to be living in the UK for 3 years as a taxpaying citizen. I think if I can get Alice's kind of input, I think your children have to be dependent in order for them to qualify if your parents are living there. But since we are talking about tertiary education, once you turn 18, you can't be a dependent anymore.
Yeah. So when we're talking about kind of higher education and things, it will be adults essentially. So yeah, you won't qualify for that. So you would need to have been in the UK kind of for the 3 years. Also, like say, it'll make it easier to enter the country, and you won't have the visa payments and stuff. So that will save you some money there. But you will still be classed as an international student for fee purposes.
Yeah. You just won't need a student visa, which is something you could take charges of, but you would still have to pay international visa. I think maybe we can chat about accommodation. I think if you guys have different on-campus accommodation options, how much they are. And I think I love chatting about on-campus accommodation, especially with undergrad students and even with postgrad, because I don't think it ensures safety, but it creates that safety element for parents that are sending their child off a million miles away. And it creates that social student life that I think a lot of students crave. So
yeah, absolutely. I think, especially at undergraduate level, when you're coming to study that kind of university accommodation experience is a really kind of key part of it. So Edinburgh Napier isn't a kind of one campus university, like some others are. We're actually split. We have 3 campuses in the city. They're not that far away from each other because, like Joe said, Edinburgh's not that big. But yeah, our campuses kind of are split into kind of 3. Our accommodation is very close to the centre of the city, and it's actually incredibly close to our Merchiston campus, which is where our engineering, computing and creative industry schools are based. It's like a 10-minute walk from there, but it also by bus like 10 minutes really to the other campuses as well. So it's not far at all, and the bus network in Edinburgh is so good. Wherever I've been in the world, I don't think I've been in many places with a better transport system, maybe other than London, that Edinburgh has. But in terms of the accommodation itself, we have 3 sites that are for our student accommodation, and we do have a variety of different room styles. So the majority of our rooms are kind of bedroom with an ensuite within a flat. So it's like a flat with maybe 5 or 6 other rooms. So you'll have your bedroom with like an ensuite bathroom that is private, like that is just yours, and then you'll have a shared kitchen and living space. So you're in a kind of a wider flat, but you have your own private room. And again, that's a great way to meet other people. A lot of people make friends when they first join the university through their accommodation and through their flats and things. We also have some twin room setups, kind of like the kind of American style dorm rooms that you might see, like one room, kind of like 2 beds and stuff in it. We do have a few of those, not a huge number, but there are some of them as well, if you kind of would like that kind of style. And then we do have a small number of kind of studio flat setups as well, that obviously would just be yourself in that kind of studio flat. They are a bit more expensive. Our accommodation starts from about £100 a week, but that does include all of your kind of bills, like utility bills and Wi-Fi and things are included within that. So when students are kind of going abroad and potentially living on their own for the first time, I know that can kind of make them feel a lot better. They know they don't need to worry about those additional elements. It can also make parents feel a lot more comfortable because they know that their kids are not going to, run out of power and things if they haven't sorted electricity bills and Wi-Fi. All of that is kind of covered, which is kind of just a good thing to know. For undergraduate, we do guarantee accommodation to all of our first-year undergraduate students, or students that are joining with us for the first year, even if they maybe come in at advanced entry at 2nd or 3rd year, as long as they apply before the deadline, which is normally around the 25th of August.
Okay. And then I think also Angie's question, I think it kind of moves into student supports. So what kind of supports do you have for students that maybe have like kind of learning difficulties, or maybe if they do have some sensory issues in the classrooms, like are students catered for with kind of supports in that way?
Absolutely, and so I could kind of speak from my own experience here. So like I say, I studied and did my undergraduate at Napier, and I am dyslexic. So that was a real kind of concern for me when I went into higher education, because I got additional support in high school with exams and things like that. I did all of them on a computer, and I was really kind of worried about how that would change potentially going into higher education. But we have the disability support team and inclusion team who are fantastic. They're really great. I went and had a meeting with them when I first started in my first year. They kind of, talked through what needs I had and what support would help me, and I got that put in place before the end of my first trimester. So when I came to the end of my first semester in first year, I had a computer set up already for my exams and had all of that in place very quickly and very early on in my degree. So from personal experience, I have to say we do have a great team there that are able to support anything like that.
Okay, perfect.
And I do like to highlight we are a much smaller university compared to some bigger university out there. So for example, Edinburgh University or Glasgow University are much larger in terms of student size. So we are much smaller, but obviously we have much more support for our students. We are slightly more kind of individual. We can set up something tailored to you because we're a smaller university, we're more friendly, and perhaps our staff are a bit more caring to be with every student's need and desire, I think.
Okay. So I think I'm jumping around a little bit, but I wanted to chat about the flexibility within programs. So I'm just kind of chatting as things jump into my head. Sorry, I just want to scroll down to see what other questions there are. I'll get your question now, Angie. I just want to chat about the flexibility. So about students, for instance, for postgrad market, we can look at that as well. So students that have a bachelor's degree, but don't necessarily have an honors degree and have 7 years experience in the field, or students that maybe want to change fields within their studies. So they started off with a degree and they want to change to another degree. So maybe you can chat about the flexibility within the programs and the flexibility in the entry requirements for specific programs. I know it's two different questions.
I'll go ahead. So in terms of work experience, we're talking about specifically about postgraduate program, right? So because you see postgraduate programs are designed for students who want to enhance their career prospects. So designed for students who have done something on undergraduate level, or maybe not completing their bachelor's in full. For example, they have an ordinary degree, or even they have diploma courses, but then they want to advance their career prospects. And so we are a bit flexible with this because we value working experience. We see working experience as something quite valuable in terms of students' career prospects and life prospects. We think if you have done a lot of work, especially good work, full-time professional work, we believe that contributes to your original qualifications. So if you have an ordinary degree or if you have a diploma, but you have at least 2 or 3 years full-time work experience, we highly recommend you to make an application. So although you don't have a full bachelor honors degree, you can still make an application, then our admissions team will be very happy to consider that, especially the program you're applying is in the same area as your work. So for example, you want to apply for a let's say a psychology course and you're working as a counselor. So although you have done a degree in business or management at undergraduate level, we're very happy to consider that because we see your work experience as something related to what you want to do. So we are more than happy to consider you for that program. The other question you mentioned is about changing the discipline. Yeah. So quite a lot of our courses are what we call a conversion course. So again, designed for students to change career, for example, or maybe someone who has done an undergraduate degree in a discipline but has been working in a different industry. Now they want to become a manager or to become a director position, but then want to have a relevant master in that field. So we are quite flexible with that. So you can go onto our website. I would say maybe about 70–90% of our courses are conversion courses, especially those courses in the business school. All the courses in the business school are conversion course, but even courses in computing school, we have courses, for example, computing with professional work placements. We need 30% of your undergraduate module in computing, but even though you don't have a degree in computing, if you have done some module, 30% or more in that, we can accept you. Or we have courses like information technology, we can accept students of any category. So there are courses in, I would say, if not all, but most schools, we can accept you if you're coming from different backgrounds. So if you're not sure, then do check our website and then ask all of us if you have any further questions related to that.
Okay, cool. And then Karen, I think this is a great question because this was actually the next topic I was going to go on to. So I was going to chat about work opportunities. But you asked, how do you help students to engage with the industries to make a bridge over into the workplace? Do you have anything to launch new companies out of the uni? Or maybe we can chat about kind of work placements, how you prep students for the work world, kind of any partnerships you have with big companies that allow students to do internships at companies that can assist them with getting work placements after they've graduated and stuff like that.
Yeah, so that's actually a really good question. I'll kind of answer them both separately. So for the first part, how do you engage industries and things? So a lot of our academics actually still work or have really strong connections with the industry that they teach in. So what I always kind of recommend students is chat with your academics when you're on the course, chat to the lecturers and everything else, find out if they have any connections with any industries they know are hiring. They can always put in, a good word for your references and things, that's a really great way to make connections with companies within the UK is actually, chatting with your course lecturers. We do have a specific careers team at the university as well, which I think is so important to highlight because they are great. They do so much work with our students. They run a variety of different services. So they have things like sessions and webinars and things that you can book onto and attend, and it's things like interview skills, CV writing, things like that's going to help you prepare for the world of work after university. But they also tend to then work with certain courses specifically. I know they've done a lot of work on the computing with professional placement before they go to do their placement, with kind of what to expect from the UK work environment and things, and they do different sessions depending on your course, so it's related to the industry that you are interested in as well. So we've got a really great resource within our careers team that anyone can access when they're a student. And then, like I say, the academics as well. The second part of your question, do you do anything to launch new companies out of uni? Well, we actually have the Bright Red Triangle, which is based out of our business school. And they are a great resource for kind of, if you're interested in starting up your own company or looking at entrepreneurship after you've graduated. They have mentors that you can work with. They can give you advice about setting up a company and everything else, and you have access to that even after you graduated as well. And I think at the moment they've been involved in over 450 startup companies, I think it is. Through that as well. So if you are interested, take a look at the Bright Red Triangle. Just Google kind of Bright Red Triangle Edinburgh Napier, you'll see some of the work they've done.
It's kind of an incubation center, so it's an excellent opportunity because we are a university which is all about employment and entrepreneurship as well. So this Bright Red Triangle Alice is talking about, it's actually a very unique service that we provide. We not only provide you that advice, how to set up a company, how to deal with finance, and how to deal with all the legal aspects to launch a company, but also we can provide you with a space within our business school. So that can be your office address. You can set up your small, maybe in the beginning, small kind of venture in there before you really launch your own company, set up your own space externally. In terms of your question about capital funding, so again, that's something we can give you advice upon. So it depends on what kind of area you want to set up your business for. Some of the business will get funding from the Scottish government. Some of the company will get funding from charity, for example. So that really depends on what kind of business you're talking about, and then we can give you advice on where you should be lobbying or searching for funding opportunity. And that's all within the right red triangle service that we provide.
Okay, and maybe you can explain the process to students of how it works. So you would complete your degree, and then once you finish your degree, obviously your student visa will expire, and then just explain the process after that.
Yeah, so you kind of have a few options there. So UK student visas, I think they give you, I think it's 2 to 4 months after graduation, you would kind of stay in the UK, look for work and everything else. We now have the new graduate route visa that was introduced a couple of years ago, which a lot of students are really interested in. So that gives you basically two more years within the UK to work and find study. So you can apply for that once you've completed your course. It is fairly easy to apply for it. You apply within the UK, so you don't need to come home to apply. And we have a dedicated visa and international support team that are really great, and they can give you all the advice and help you with the application for that as well, and give you tips and things on how to complete the application that can then give you access to stay in the UK for a further 2 years to find permanent work, which then can turn into an actual work visa within the UK as well. So it's a great route into employment in the UK.
I'm sorry, Andrew, I skipped your question about scholarships. Maybe you can just explain the different scholarships that you guys offer, especially for international students.
Yeah, so at the moment, the kind of only one that we have specifically that covers South Africa is our Africa scholarship that I mentioned before. So it's a £2,000 scholarship, and we do it on a first come, first served basis for people that pay their deposit. There's no qualifications that we accept and don't accept for that. You just need to be qualified for the course that you've applied for. So you need to have received an offer. So like we said, we're really flexible on the sorts of qualifications and work experience that we accept. So whatever we've used to kind of give you your offer, that's fine. It doesn't need to be a degree or the high school qualifications or whatever to receive the scholarship.
Okay. So I think those are all the questions that I have. I don't know if you guys want to pop any more questions in the inbox, but yeah, so this recording will be uploaded on our site. You guys will be able to access it. I thought it would just be nice if we did a little Q&A so that students can have a look on what it means to study at Edinburgh Napier, always say it wrong, to see what it's like to study there. And if you guys have any questions, you know how to contact us. It will be on our website, or you can contact the university directly. But thank you for attending, and hopefully you guys will be interested in studying here.
Yeah, thank you so much.